What's up, you guys? Happy Tuesday. It's normally run day for my group. I'm not with my group today, so I went running on my own, and it is so humid, so excuse the sweatiness. But I have been thinking about this all weekend since watching the pro race at the Hawaii Ironman Championship. And there were so many things that I witnessed that just backed up everything that we teach here at Full Circle Coaching. So it was really rewarding to see the results. I mean, course records were broken, right? Not on the swim, but on the bike and the run, course records were broken. And there are definitely reasons that happened. So I want to kind of go from the swim, the bike, the run, and point out a few things that age groupers come to me and tell me, oh, I was told this, and it's not true. It's a myth, right? So I wanted to bust those myths based on what the pros did this weekend and Thursday for the women's race, Saturday for the men's race. And you can go on YouTube and watch what I'm talking about because everything was recorded. They did such a great job. Okay, so let's get to the swim. So the swim, it was so awesome because we got to see an aerial view of first of all, the massive pack of swimmers and how jumbled it was for the pros. And it's just like that for the age groupers too. But being comfortable in a massive pack is definitely a must. That's not necessarily a myth, but that's something you got to train for. If you're going to do any kind of a bigger race with more than 2,000 people, there's going to be a lot of swimmers around you. But I want to point out the technique and the biomechanics of the lead swimmer. In particular, the men's race. I actually missed the women's race of the swim, but the men's race, the lead swimmer, I don't even remember his name, and I'm not sure who it was, but he had like the most perfect technique. And the number one myth I'm going to bust right now is that, age groupers come to me and they say, oh, I'm not supposed to kick when I swim. A coach told me that, or whoever told me that. That is a total myth. You have to kick if you want to swim well. Now, you don't want to have a scissor kick where your feet are really wide and far apart and they're very slow moving. You want to have a very fast, efficient kick, but not to the point where it blows you up. Your legs take up a lot of oxygen when you kick, so you want to have an economical kick, but you have to kick. And all of those swimmers in the pro race were kicking. There was not one swimmer who was not kicking. And honestly, probably everybody at the Ironman was kicking. There was nobody who wasn't kicking. So that's myth number one, busted. You have to kick as a swimmer, but you want to get good at kicking. You want to get good at kicking on your belly, on your back, on your side, and develop your kick so then you can choose what speed to race at, right? Depending on the distance of the race. So that's myth number one. Number two is the high elbow recovery. This is controversial. So some people have a straight arm recovery. Some people have more of a bent elbow recovery. But just physics tells us that a shorter lever is going to be easier to move through. Lisbeth! Oh my goodness, how are you? Did you watch Kona? Were you inspired? A former professional triathlete, Lisbeth Christensen, just jumped on, and I haven't heard from her in years. But anyway, so a high elbow recovery, the lead swimmer had a great high elbow recovery, and you can see the swimmer behind had a really big splashy elbow recovery and was splashing the water. Now, I'm not saying he's not fast because he was equally as fast, but he still wasn't in the front. And the other thing you could really see on his swim, the lead swimmer, is his streamline. It was so perfect. I mean, he was long and he waited. He didn't have a catch-up stroke, but he was definitely taking advantage of more of a catch-up style swim because you automatically go faster the longer you are, right? So those are things that are so important in swimming that age groupers tend to overlook. Your biomechanics are so important in your swim. The smoother you swim, the faster you go. And if you don't have a streamline because you have tight hips or tight shoulders, or a tight thoracic spine, you're missing out. And just stretching can make you a faster swimmer. So those are the myths on the swim. And if you guys found any other ones that you thought were cool, that maybe you learned something from, let me know. Post in the comments below. And please heart if you like this video, because I'd love to have more people watch it and learn from it. Okay, so then let's talk about the bike. The bike, course record was broken. Okay, why did that happen? I will tell you for certain, every single cyclist, especially, not every single pro uses numbers, which blows my mind. We had a pro come to Ultimate Tri Camp, which is coming up again in the spring, and we always have a guest pro speak, and she did not use any numbers. I asked her what her functional threshold power was. She said she didn't know, and she didn't race by numbers. And did you see her in the top 10 or 20 or 30 at Kona? No. You cannot race and do well if you're not paying attention to your numbers. There's no way that course record could have been broken without him or all those people, men and women, paying attention to what their numbers are. And that is so easy, yet so many age groupers don't want to know that. And even my beginner triathlon program, I start teaching you about your numbers. Now, what are numbers? Your cadence, right? Your cadence on the bike, your cadence on the run. Your heart rate and your different energy systems from aerobic all the way up to VO2 max, and your power on the bike. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Yet so many age groupers are resistant to that and think that they don't need it. And even pros are resistant to that and get too caught up in the numbers and what they mean instead of using them as a tool to improve. It's so much easier to improve yourself when you have a baseline with exact numbers and then you train the numbers and you get better, as opposed to guessing all the time. The other thing is like aerodynamics on the bike. Every single person in Kona was mostly aero. I mean, there was one guy that kept getting out of aero, but the guy that won the age group, he broke the course record. He averaged 27 miles per hour. Okay, on the bike. You don't go that fast without training your numbers. Okay, so that's number one. Also, fueling. They were getting between, in some cases, 400 and 500 calories per hour. And someone asked me in my group, I didn't see them eat that much. Well, I promise you they were eating. You cannot go 27 miles an hour without fueling at a very high rate so that you're getting what you need. And everybody has their individual nutrition needs that you need to dial in. So another myth broken, not needing enough nutrition, but you definitely need your nutrition to be able to perform at that level. And then cadence. So this is also controversial. So a lot of people don't pay attention to cadence on the bike, but every single athlete that I saw had a cadence above 80. There were some athletes that maybe had a little bit slower, but I didn't see them at the finish line in the top 3. Okay, so I totally believe that a higher RPM is going to give you, it can make your heart rate high at first, but when you train it, you can learn to keep your heart rate lower. But you also will have a better run off the bike. And we're going to get to the run cadence. So the closer your bike cadence is to your run cadence, it just makes for a smoother transition. And then let's talk about bike styles of bikes, because there is all different styles of bike. And the number one thing is people want to buy speed, right? So they want to buy the aero wheels, the aero helmet, the aero bike. But it's the engine on the bike, meaning the person, that is the most important thing to get faster. So yes, you can buy a certain amount of speed, but it comes down to you as the athlete training your energy systems by using a power meter. I love power meters. I mean, it's so simple. You apply pressure to the pedal, you find out where you're weak in your pedal stroke, and you train those things, training those different energy systems based on the distance of the race that you want to do. And then you get the result you are planning on instead of guessing once again. So I think Christian Blumenfeld, he didn't even have aero wheels, but he's an engine. I mean, he is so strong. Also, check out his size. He was a lot bigger of an athlete, and I saw him working a lot harder on the run because of that. Now, that doesn't mean, obviously, he's still an excellent Ironman, but, form and technique are awesome. So let's get to the run, which there are a few things about technique that were so important and that age groupers don't think are important, right? So number one is your cadence. So I think the girl, I can't remember her, Chelsea, she didn't break the world record for the women's course, but she got first place, the first mom ever to win Kona. So proud of her, and an American, couldn't be more proud of the USA. But she ran with a 95 RPM. Okay, so many of my athletes have cadence down in the 70s and the 60s on their run, and I encourage them to do their running drills and work on that, but it's not a priority. But I'm telling you, the longer you leave your foot on the ground, the more the ground takes your energy. You got to have that quick ground reaction force pulling your heels up behind you. The other thing is really checking out your foot strike. I'm sorry. Whoops, there I am. About heel striking. And they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. Other coaches too. Heel striking doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's BS. There's no one on that podium that had a heel strike. They all landed midfoot strike with their shins perpendicular to the ground, absorbing all the shock, fast RPMs, and that slight lean forward. And then they also had super high elbow arm swing. So elbows bent even up, tighter than 90, like a 45-degree elbow bend, because common sense. A shorter lever is easier to move through space and time. And when you're pushing at your maximum for an aerobic period of time, you need the most economy or efficiency or biomechanics, so you're wasting as little energy as possible to run fast, right? So I think that was everything that I wanted to talk about. But I'd love to hear your comments, and if you agree with me or disagree with me, let's talk about it. And I wanted to say I'm super proud that in Full Circle Coaching, like I said, we have the beginner triathlon program, which is an 8-week online program. And then we have the 4-month, 16-week triathlon transformation program that is completely virtual. And you get the support of me and my coaches, a completely online training platform, as well as all the nutrition, all the strength training. Oh, that was one other thing. So you can't tell me anybody out there on the podium does not do strength training as a part of their protocol, okay? They all had to have muscular endurance in their torso, in their quads, in their body to last that long. Running 26 miles at sub 6:30 pace for the men and sub 7-minute mile for the women, you've got to have muscular endurance and muscular strength, and that comes from strength training. So that's another myth, that you don't need to strength train, right? And my 2 programs include strength training specifically for swim, bike, run. It includes an entire nutrition protocol to help you dial in to what works for you the best, but it also includes your whole lifestyle. So how triathlon fits into your life instead of the other way around, where triathlon takes over your life. And you're not managing everything else. If you do it right, if you have the whole package where you're including maybe supplements and a proper nutrition plan on a daily basis, you have a training program that fits into your life, and you've done the strength work and the biomechanics evaluations that I offer, you're going to have a lot more success a lot sooner, right? And that's why I'm so proud of this new program, Triathlon Transformation. And if you'd like to know more about it, I'd love to let you know. So DM me, give me a shout. We're going to be doing actually a free nutrition reset in the next 2 weeks inside my Triathlon Obsessed Facebook group. I would love to have you join over there. It's completely free. I go at least quarterly giving tons of free workshops, and I try to post in there, we post in there daily with workouts and all this and tips and stuff like that. But I go live at least 4 times a year with tons of free content. So I'd love to have you join me over there. And then if you are interested in more, we can talk about more. I'm hoping you guys have an amazing day. Go watch those Kona videos, see how the pros do it, and take notes, right? I mean, if you have a coach, talk to your coach. If you need a coach, I'm here for you, right? Check out fullcirclecoaching.com, follow and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and of course Facebook, and join my Triathlon Obsessed Facebook group. It is completely free. Lisbeth, I'd love to catch up with you. Hey Chris, I don't know if I know you, but have an awesome day, you guys. Bye.